Welcome to another Timely Tuesday. Today I'm going to talk about what Timely comics are designated as classic covers by CGC. So here we go. I'll start with the titles that have the least amount and then go towards the titles that have the most. And here we go. Starting with one of the best. You're not surprised, this one for sure. Classic cover. Now I'm only putting ones that I've seen actually, or that I have examples of in here, that actually say classic cover on the label. Now, CGC is very inconsistent with these. Sometimes there'll be a book, we'll get the classic cover on there, and then it won't anymore, or vice versa. So it's really kind of weird. But rest assured, one thing you can count on is if the book has or ever has the classic cover, you're going to be paying a premium for this thing. So here we go. Number 2, another all select classic cover. I love these ones. You know, I've mentioned it before, but how great are these? Because they're all 3 of the main Timely heroes, minus the sidekicks. I'll probably do a video on only the covers that show them without their sidekicks, because there really aren't many. It's a shame. And, you know, some of the sidekicks are cool, but, I mean, this is about as good as it gets. All right. Classic war cover. Yeah. Pretty cool. War. Man. Battle for victory for America. I'm not a big fan of the way they look there, but I'd be proud of that book if I had it. This is a great one. I mean, look at that. That's like a propaganda poster. You'd see. So great. I always think the Submariner, when he uses weapons, is a little funny looking. I do like Toro there. It's one of the good ones. Cap, looking pretty nuts. That bomb. Little too happy there, Cap. You know, they don't even say nothing on there. I like that. Classic cover. Does that say classic war cover? No, just classic cover. Another classic cover. The Burning Hand. This is one that I brought up in the last video that said I thought this would soon be or deserve to be on Overstreet's Top 100 Golden Age books. Not one of my favorites, but it is a Timely, so put it up here. Classic robot cover. Now, I think that at some point, although I feel like this is inconsistent as well, but I feel like at some point, someone at CGC decided to say, hey, you know, if we can't just call it a classic cover, period, then let's just call it a, robot cover or bondage cover or war cover, because you'll see those a lot, where on these labels it'll say, bondage cover. But then that seems a little silly, because it's like, do they call that out every time? So, I mean, I could see how it'd be tough for them, but it'd be nice if they were, more consistent, and it'd be nice if they kind of had something on their website that talked about it. Because I mean, if there is, I couldn't find it. One of my personal favorite classic covers. See, here's a whoa, holy spoilers. Here's a classic hypodermic needle bondage cover. and Hitler cover. So I guess it's not a classic Hitler cover, but is a classic hypodermic needle bondage cover. Yeah, yes. There he is, Hitler. Darn that Captain America. It's got the paralyzing gas. Or no, just gas. Oh, death gas, I guess. Alright, well. Classic Alex Schomburg cover. So these, the titles, before we got to Marvel Comics, Marvel Mystery Comics, there were two classic covers in each. All winners, all select, and USA and Human Torch all had two. Marvel Comics definitely has a lot more. Marvel Mystery. Classic cover. I agree with that. Classic cover. No, I'm not so sure about that. I mean, as you could see, what's considered classic is highly subjective, as in, it's not something that can be kind of universally proved as far as like, I don't know, like it's, what color is it, you can prove something like that, but as of something with taste, it's more subjective, as in the person who's looking at it could determine if it's classic or not. I wouldn't call that a classic. I would call Marvel 2 the classic, more of a classic cover than this. Classic bondage cover. Feel like I've seen better. These guys are pretty funny looking, though. Into the Acid. This is pretty cool. Look at the size of that blade. Whew. Classic bondage cover. I feel like this one was probably dropped, but I don't know. Classic Zeppelin cover. See, I'm pretty sure I've seen this designated as just classic cover as well. But man, oh man, that's a great cover. Classic cover. Look at that super plane. Oh yes, classic Hitler cover. I'd say it's a classic bondage cover too. Look at that. Or torture. This cover has so much going for it. You got Hitler, bondage, Nazi zombies. Torch, Alex Schomburg. Now, the winner of the most classic covers of any Timely magazine is, bam, Captain America. Classic Hitler cover. Classic Red Skull cover. Very nice. The first time Schomburg drew Cap. Classic cover. Jack Kirby. Great Jack Kirby pose. He is gonna slice that guy in half. Classic cover. You can't argue with that. I didn't know this was a classic cover. It is a great cover. I wouldn't expect it to be considered classic. At least not in the same sense that, like this. I feel like this one might not be remembered as easily as some of these ones in the future. Classic cover. Now this definitely, I feel, has dropped. I feel like I've seen some more recent slabs that it does not say classic cover on this one. Classic cover. Yeah. Same with this. I feel like this has been dropped too. Classic bondage cover. It's a great one. Oh yes, classic flag cover. This is great. So much detail in these. US. We'll write our names on it. No 46, which I thought was interesting. It's definitely been referred to as a classic cover before, number 46, but nope. I could not find one that said classic on the cover. Now, definitely, I'm sure I'm missing some. So, and I'd love to hear which ones, or that have classic cover on the CGC. So please write it if you know of any. Classic Red Skull cover. Yep. Now, you probably noticed that a lot of those covers were drawn by the same artist. 18. Can you guess who it was? Yep. He hogged all the great war covers of from Timely. Yeah, I wish there was more information about him on the internet so bad. Or just the interview with other guys who even mention him. I mean, there's just I have a real hard time finding stuff. I'd love to hear, so hey, Bill Everett, how do you feel that you never got, or you barely, actually, well, he did do some later, but for the most part, Schomburg did most of the Submariner covers. How does he feel about that? Maybe he'd be the first to say, oh, he's the best. But I just don't hear anything about it. Love to be pointing in the direction of some interviews and stuff, if you guys know of any. Now, you might be wondering, well, geez, I could think of one cover that is certainly classic. Why was that not on there? Now, I've heard it said, classic cover designation is used to help promote some great covers that might be overlooked. So they didn't want to give it to, the super duper keys that people already knew about. Now, I don't feel like that's the right call there, because I think there's some first appearance books that have, not, they're well known, but might not be considered classic covers. But like this one would be. So that kind of denies this the rightful classic cover designation. Not like it needs it, but I mean, so if you look up the word classic, so the first or highest quality class or rank, serving as a standard or a model or a guide. I think that would fall into that category. I looked up Overstreet. So Overstreet has, they designate a lot of covers classic or not as well. And they actually have a glossary. A cover considered by collectors to be highly desirable because of its subject matter, artwork, historical importance, etc. They do, and you know what? They don't have it listed as classic in theirs. And it's interesting. So, like, number 5, they say is classic Red Skull cover. Well, classic Kirby, Nazi torture, Wheel of Death, Red Skull cover. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what they're calling classic there, but it means cover. Maybe it doesn't mean cover, but I'm pretty sure that's what it does. But another note is the 26, the 27, and 28 are not noted as classics in any sense in Overstreet as they are in CGC. Number 36, they say Overstreet has classic Hitler cover. I could not find anything that said classic on the 36. I believe that Overstreet's right on that one. I think they're wrong on this one, 37. That was totally a classic cover. Red Skull appearance, nothing, doesn't say anything. What's really weird is like the 27, which is the one of him and Bucky on the motorcycle crashing through, going to Berlin. They don't even list it as being worth anything more than issue 26 through 30, which is like ridiculous. I mean, it should at least be on its own number in this. It's certainly a higher premium than the other ones. At least the 37 has its own. And then 46, they do list it as a classic. So it's always been just one of those things. People have their lists, and their lists quickly get outdated or obsolete. So, I mean, I think CGC, they should just have a way to search and see all their classic covers. The problem is they probably don't even, they would need help remembering everything. I mean, you'd hope that they have some kind of database that they could at least search their own notes in. But and it has been going on for a while, so maybe not. Anyway, there you go. Time, all the classic covers designated by CGC. I'm sure there's some that you think should be classics or shouldn't be classics. Write in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Get these timely discussions started. All right. See you next week.